Hi, welcome back to Mitsubishi PHEV Adventures. This is episode 28 and it's coming up to 1 year review since I've had the car. So I've got the 2021 model for those of you who are not aware, and it's the last generation. I bought it as a demo model roughly a year ago. So here's a little bit of feedback about the car, how it's all going and how I'm enjoying it. So I am enjoying the car still. I do love the car. I'll give you a few facts and figures. So as I mentioned, I bought it as a demo model with about 8,300 kilometers. Here's a bit of footage from my very first episode when I bought it there. And anyway, you can see now I've done roughly 35,000 kilometers. So yeah, I've done about 27,000 kilometers since I've bought it. Now the car itself is 869 days, you can see there, and so that's about 2.5 years old. So when I bought the car it was around about 18 months, and I seem to hover around that 60% usage in electricity there. For those of you who've seen some of my previous episodes, you'll know that it has been above 60%. But I do quite a lot of long trips, hence the kilometer usage you can see. Anyway, so moving along here. Okay, people probably want to know about range and economy and so on. So firstly, I tow a little trailer with my business around town. It's only a small trailer, but I'm easily getting 30 kilometers, not a problem, which is more than enough for my little business. And without the trailer, you'll get up to 45 kilometers, maybe even a little bit more. Bearing in mind, I've got the 13.8 kilowatt battery, not the newer size. On the highway though, it's highly variable. In recent times I've taken to just using it when I'm doing slower speeds, because obviously we'll really eat into the battery, as people know. Now I do have a small solar system on my roof, which is fantastic. I live in the goldfields, so we have plenty of sunshine here, and I do a lot of self-consuming because the feed-in tariff is not that good. Luckily I'm able to charge during the day, and like I said, around town I'll pay very little in costs to run the car. I'll use minuscule amounts of petrol. It's usually like, if it's a cold morning maybe and I'll have the heater on a little bit, that might crank up the petrol engine. Now I use the Delta Solar app to monitor the solar usage, and you can see here I try to keep that purchase price as low as possible, that orange one. So I'm charging in the middle of the day, which, as I mentioned, I'm lucky enough to be able to do that. I know not everyone can do that if they've got a solar system, but I'm certainly able to do that. So an electric car or PHEV makes a lot of sense. And you can see there's my yearly stats, trying to keep that orange purchase price as low as possible. And now onto the tyres. I have recently changed the tyres. I bought a set of 4 from a wrecker's, and they were off a wrecked car, and they're a lot better tyres. They're the Hankook Dynapros. They have a slightly more aggressive profile, and they're really good for gravel and off-road. So I do a little bit of gravel off-road. The tread doesn't look that different. I will admit they're a little bit noisier than the tyres that came with the car, and I haven't decided whether to go back to the old rims or not, but they're the Toyos, that's what came with the car. But I feel like the Hankooks have a slightly better grip. I think next time I upgrade, I'll probably go with something like a Kumo, which is sort of a bit of a middle ground. I think they'll probably be a bit quieter than the Hankooks, but they'll probably be a lot better than the Toyos which came with it. Here you can see some of the trips and some of the places I've been with the car. So obviously if you're looking for a rock hopper, this is not the car for you. It's not a proper 4-wheel drive. So, and that's because the ground clearance is only 190 millimeters or so. But it is a great car. Like I said, on the gravel and sand and so on, and light mud, it will perform adequately for your purposes. I've never had an issue with it. I've been through some light mud with it, and I've even gone across some sort of rocky ground before, but you're not gonna be able to go hardcore off-roading in it. But most people who buy it don't do that with the car anyway. In terms of highway performance, I haven't had an issue with it. And if you want to know what sort of economy I'm getting on the highway, Well, here's some figures coming up for you now. So as long as you charge before you go on a trip, you should get between 6.5 and 7.5 liters, obviously depending on how many kilometers you do on that trip. My worst was around 8.2. I've had that a couple of times, but that was mainly with a headwind, a really bad headwind, and obviously I was still maintaining a speed of, highway speed. So 110 kilometers an hour is usually what I would do on a fairly long trip. But I have done trips and I have done economy tests when the battery's expired, and it surprised me. Sometimes I've done really well. It does depend on what speed you do and whether you do have a headwind. But if you're interested, go back and have a look at some of my previous episodes, and they'll have some more information about that. But it is surprisingly good for the weight of the car. I mean, you're looking at a 2-ton car with the battery. So anyway, things I like about the car. Again, I have done some previous episodes on that, but I do love the space and size of it. I do feel it's got a great hip point and roof height. Certainly for my height, I'm 1.7 meters tall. I guess if you're really, really tall, you might have an issue with it, or perhaps shorter than that. But both my wife and I don't have an issue with it. It's very comfortable on long trips, and it's certainly is more than adequate for our needs. Things I don't like about it, I'm pleased to say there's not too many things I don't like about it. I have mentioned this too in previous videos if you want to go back and have a look. Things like the screen doesn't say what setting you have on it, which is a little bit annoying, and I also don't like the way it can jump into a petrol mode if you forget to put the EV only on button. So I've sort of trained myself to leave that button on, and especially if you take cruise control on and off. So if you forget to put the EV button on, you may have some issues with it. But look, it's only small things, and overall I feel this is an excellent choice for somebody who wants to be able to do a lot of EV traveling and just occasionally need the petrol engine. Or even like me, I go on several trips a year and I find it's perfect for that. And one day I will have a full EV, but it's still a few years off yet. Okay, that concludes my 1-year review. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very, very much for watching. Take care out there, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.